Hello there, and thank you for tuning in to another monthly market report for the Anchorage Real Estate. The numbers coming in for January are showing that there's been a pattern interruption in regards to prices for the market, while some other things are continuing to stay the same. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jon Hill. I'm a realtor here in Anchorage, and I help home buyers and sellers just like yourself in the Anchorage and Matsu area. Average sold price for a single-family home in the Anchorage municipality for January 2023 was $436,000. That's down quite a bit from the previous month of December of 2022 from $453,000, but also down from January of 2022, which have an average sold price of $438,000. When looking at the 12-month average month over month, January had an average sold price of $453,000, which was down from the previous month of $454,000. And we've been seeing a continuous 7 or 8% year-over-year growth for our market for a long time, and this has been the first month where we haven't seen that in quite a while. Now notice this reduction in the 12-month average is 0.04%, so it's very small, and basically we could say that prices are staying stable. Now notice that it is just 1 month, but it's definitely a pattern interruption, and I'm going to be monitoring what happens in the market very closely moving forward. So stay tuned if you want to see what happens with the numbers coming next month. Now looking at the inventory in the market. In January, there was about 188 single-family homes for sale in Anchorage. That's down quite a bit from December when we saw 243 homes for sale, but up somewhat from January of the previous year when we had 165 homes. When looking at the 12-month average, we see that January had an average of 290 homes for sale, up from the previous month that had 288 homes for sale, which is showing that we're seeing inventory growing at about 8%, which is continuing the pattern that we've been seeing previously of inventory going up slightly. Now let's take a look at days on market, or the amount of time that it's taken properties to sell. The average property that sold last month in January spent an average of 39 days on market. That's up quite a bit from the previous month that had 29 days on market. In January of 2022, a year ago, the average property took 32 days on market. So this is actually the metric that we saw the biggest percentage change in for the numbers that came in this month. We saw the 12-month average for the days on market go up by over half a day from 1 month to the next. What this means is the numbers are just showing that properties aren't continuing to sell quite as quickly as they were previously. They're still selling relatively quickly, of less than 40 days, or the 12-month average of pretty close to 3 weeks. But if you're a seller, just be prepared that your property may be on the market for a little longer. And your buyer, just know if you're viewing properties that have been on the market for 30 plus days, that's kind of the market that we're moving to. Properties aren't selling in just a matter of a couple of weeks as we had seen previously when the market was super hot. And now let's look at the amount of homes that are selling. In last month, we only saw 89 homes sell in the Anchorage municipality. That's down from the previous month when we saw 155, and the previous year in January we saw 189 homes sell, so 100 less homes than a year ago. To put that in perspective, historically Anchorage has seen about 250 homes sell each month, so only selling 89, not a lot of homes are selling. And this is kind of the pattern that we've been seeing happening, and the amount of homes selling is continuing to go down. Looking at the 12-month average, January had an average of 229 homes selling per month, which was down from the previous month at 237. If this pattern continues, it's about a 30% annual drop in the number of homes sold. It's a decrease in the percentage from what we saw in the previous month. The number of homes selling is continuing to go down, but the numbers are showing that the rate at which it's decreasing is beginning to slow down. So we want to point out that it's not only a lot of buyers that are kind of sitting on the sidelines in the market, but sellers as well, because while we're seeing the amount of sales happening going down by quite a bit, inventory isn't rising that drastically. So it's both buyers and sellers sitting out, which is why it's not causing a huge change in the market. And now moving on to the most important metric to track in real estate, which is the months of inventory. As we discussed last week, if you see inventory going up and the number of sales going down, those are going to amplify the months of inventory that we have, which is calculated by current inventory divided by the amount of sales that's occurred in the past year. So current months of inventory for January was 0.82 months of inventory, which was down from December of 1.02. But notice we typically see less inventory as we head into January and February. At that point, we then typically see inventory rise. But the 0.82 months of inventory is up quite a bit from the previous year in January when we had 0.55 months of inventory. When looking at the 12-month average for inventory, we see that currently the 12-month average for inventory is 1.07 months, and the previous month in December is 0.05 months. So what does that mean? That means we're seeing the pattern continue of months of inventory going up at an annual percentage rate of about 30%. Now notice, like I said before, 30% when we're starting at 1 month of inventory is only going to take us to about 1.3 months of inventory, which is still definitely in a seller's market. And now the last thing to look at is the current inventory for different price ranges. This can basically be summarized by the higher price ranges currently have more inventory and the lower price ranges currently have less, making them more competitive for buyers. Currently, the most competitive price range for buyers for single-family homes is the $350,000 to $400,000 range, where we see the lowest months of inventory. Now notice this is because of the trend in the market that we're seeing of a lot of buyers looking for affordable housing, and this is kind of the starter price range for single-family homes in our market. If a person's looking underneath that $350,000 range, I always recommend that they at least consider looking into townhouse style options or possibly condos, where there's a lot of options below that price mark. So real quick, once again, I'm going to leave you with a snapshot at the rate of which we're seeing metrics change in our market. We're currently seeing home values staying steady. We're seeing inventory rising at a rate of about 8%. Days on market, we saw quite a bit of change in the 12-month average, month over month, and if the trend continues, we're seeing about a 36% increase in the days on market. The number of homes being sold is continuing to go down at a rate of about 35%, and months of inventory is going up at a rate of about 30% annually. So that's this month's market report. Thank you for tuning in, and if you want to be sure to catch next month's market report, consider subscribing or following depending on which platform you're on. And if you found value in today's video, if you hit the like button, it absolutely means the world to me. Then of course, if I can be of help with anything else real estate related, feel free to reach out. This is Jon Hill, Alaska Realtor, and I'm here for you.